Good evening, my name is Angus Wilson. I'm a trustee of Fields of Life. Welcome to our first ever virtual water event. I'm looking forward to sharing stories of how clean water makes a massive difference to a village in rural Uganda, but also can change lives here too. One of the highlights in my life has actually been going to Uganda or going to countries in East Africa to see and meet the people and to see the work of Fields of Life, and especially to see the work of the drilling team out there. Unfortunately, COVID doesn't make that possible, so this is the next best thing. We're taking you on a virtual tour to meet the team, to see the work and to meet the villagers whose lives will be impacted. I had the great privilege back in 2010 to lead a team of folk that I knew from different walks of life, from my work, from my community and so on. Maybe folk that didn't actually know each other, but these guys got together. We went out to see Fields of Life schools and to see the drilling team there. But the team were really impacted specifically about how the difference that water makes in a village, and decided to really get behind the drilling team and the work of Fields of Life. Unbelievably, over this past 11 years, over £1 million has been raised in that team. There's been one or two members left and joined, but overall it's an incredible journey that we've been on. And I want to share now some of the memories, some of the pictures and some of the events that we had over the 10 or 11 years to raise the money. As you can see, we've had lots of fun and great memories along the way. But at this point, I think I really need to say a sincere thanks to all those that have contributed, those that have taken tables, offered auction items, quietly given us envelopes into our hands with no fuss. That has all contributed to making serious difference to people's lives. And I want to introduce you to some of the team. But before I do, I have to really mention the saddest part of our journey, and that was in losing Niall Irwin. Niall was a great encourager, great character in the team, and we really do miss him. One of the things that Niall was always have said was, right guys, what are we doing next? And I think he would probably be delighted with this event tonight. So now let's hear from some of the team.
What initially motivated me was curiosity. I actually was very curious as to how Angus managed to do what he did, and I had known Angus through the food industry side of it and thought that was absorbed his life, but discovered this other aspect of what he was doing, and I was, I suppose, jealous. I was interested. I was curious. How does this man do this? So when he said, let's go out and have a trip out to Uganda with a few of us, it was an obvious no-brainer for me to say yes.
He said, would you like to go out? I had been talking about it. I said, I would like to go out. For my two daughters had been in Kampala with another organisation, and he had changed them.
I clearly remember when I first arrived in Entebbe airport and just coming out of the airport and seeing the crowd there and all the people and kids running around with no shoes on and such a bustle and people hanging off the back of lorries, and just it was really quite overwhelming as an experience for me.
Yeah, I remember just the impact on your senses. It was sounds, it was sights, it was smell, it was colour, it was noise, it was just brightness of, coming out of what was just looked like any other international airport, quite quiet, and then piling into a minibus and suddenly just dropping into this hugely colourful, vibrant society. It was, a big shock to the system.
Well, when we were on the trip, we witnessed children 6 and 7 years old carrying containers of dirty water, and the women in Uganda really do the hard work. They go maybe walk 5 miles to a dirty hole, fill a can of water and carry it 20 litres, a big 20-litre container of water, put it on their heads and carry it home.
We saw one kid holding a bottle of water, and one member of our team inquired if this was a bottle of Coke, and they said no, it was water. And he had filled that from a local stream, and there were cattle standing in that stream, and there were people washing clothes and all in that stream. And that the fact that nearly every family in that community had lost at least one child as a result of drinking poor quality water. And we thought, we just take it for granted when we turn on the tap and we have water there, and we thought this is something that we can do, and this will help absolutely everyone.
Well, we pledged to buy a drilling rig, and we raised the money for the drilling rig, and we also had the money promised to drill wells. So this was always in the back of our minds that if we buy the drilling rig and we drill the wells, we're going to help the villages and the people on the ground to get fresh, clean water. And that really was what we were setting out to do.
And it was immediately apparent that the change from contaminated water to clean water was the biggest multiplier, the biggest thing that could impact people's lives. The piece that always comes back to me, this isn't about pouring aid into a community year after year. It's about helping people get off their knees and onto their feet. And then with the education system that's there and all the other things that they can leverage, they can make a success of life. So water was just the biggest single factor that we saw. If you equate giving water to removing a large part of the disease that they're certain to have otherwise, then you transform people's lives.
Whenever we went to see the drilling rig on our visit, the one thing that really struck me was we were taken about 200 or 300 yards away to the water that this community was using in the first place. Cattle were drinking out of, and upstream cattle were drinking out of, and you can imagine what that would be like. So whenever you saw the light in these children's faces and this lovely brand new drilling rig, but it was obviously bringing them life, and clean water was life to them.
When I went back out to Uganda, it was the lovely to go to the drilling rig that we had bought and see the borehole being bored and the people around to get fresh, clean water for the first time in their lives. And I think it nearly got to the extent of making you feel emotional.
Also, the great encouragement and support we got from our local community. So many people came behind us at our barbecues, on our auctions, on our other fundraising events, and they just wanted to help because they saw the photographs, they had heard the reports coming back from us, and they thought, you know, this is something I can do, and I can make a real change and something that will really change these communities. And to start providing clean water is quite often the start of the transformation of a community. They start with a well, and that helps. The kids can then go to school because they don't have to go to get water every day. The education improves, the health improves, and then eventually they develop, and it really is a transformation in a community to do that.
The reason I keep involved is the people that are involved, to be honest, because Neville and Angus and Richard and David, and they're inspiring people, and they really are so involved with the raising of money for this excellent project that it's them that sort of inspire me, to be honest.
Oh, there are many, many highlights of the experience of being involved, but on reflection, the highlight for me is that if we had at some point said, let's raise £1 million, I think most of us would have left the room within a few minutes. It was the fact that, and we didn't get there, it was obviously everybody else has been so generous in their support, but it was the fact that a bunch of ordinary guys could create enough possibilities to allow other people to get engaged.
I think for us to walk away from this now after doing what we've done, it'll be letting people down. There's villages still crying out for fresh, clean water, and there's a job. We've still a job to do.
A great story of one community helping another is Carlin Presbyterian Church in Northern Ireland. But rather than me tell the story, let's hear from Graham Morrow and Howard McLean.
In 2015, we had the opportunity and privilege of being involved in a water drilling project in Uganda with Fields of Life. Very shortly, you'll be hearing a contribution from my good friend and elder in this congregation, Graham Morrow, as to how some of the land owned by this church was used to produce potatoes, which ultimately brought hope and health to families living many thousands of miles away from Carland. And coming from a land where clean water is plentiful, it was fabulous to see what FOL were doing in Uganda as a practical expression of Christian love, and for us to be involved in that.
Hello, my name is Graham Morrow. I'm a member of Carlin Presbyterian Church, and I want to tell you a little about our involvement with Fields of Life. Our church owns a few acres of ground, and I have been thinking that growing a field of potatoes would be a good event to bring our congregation together for a couple of days and possibly raise some money. We kicked off the season with a vintage ploughing day with quite a few vintage ploughing outfits taking part, and that followed in about a week's time with a potato planting day, and that was also done with vintage machinery. The growing crop was tended then from that throughout the growing season, with a harvest day coming in September, with all hands on deck to gather the potatoes. I think too that the project made us a more thankful people, not only being reminded of the fertile and plenteous land in which we live, but also contrasting that to the lives of the people in Uganda who were able to be provided with fresh water through our little project.
On the ground in Uganda, there were many things that really hit home, especially when we realised how materially blessed we are here in Northern Ireland. The friendliness and the real appreciation of what FOL had been doing over many years in water drilling and other projects had to be seen to be believed. It was marvellous to see how there had been a positive impact with communities reaching out with God's love to them. I was deeply touched by many of the things that I saw in Uganda, not least by one small village community, and how they had been impacted by appalling violence in their recent history, and yet their faith in Christ had remained steadfast. How they had been positively influenced by FOL and what they had done for them was just wonderful. They had so little, and yet were living joyful Christian lives. In my opinion, FOL epitomises practical Christian love and outreach. For those of you who have been involved for many years, well done. For those of you who are contemplating involvement, perhaps now is a good time to start.
Good evening, my name is Helen and I work for Fields of Life office in Northern Ireland. It's been wonderful tonight hearing about the Water for Life team and their journey over the past 10 years. Through my role, I've had the immense privilege of working alongside the team, and I've been continually blown away by their passion and their commitment to see lives transformed in East Africa through the life-saving gift of clean water. We are so thankful to each team member for all their incredible efforts over the past 10 years. The past 12 months have been challenging for everyone as we have adapted to COVID-19. In the midst of a global pandemic, 785 million people lack access to the one thing they need most, clean water. Since March last year, we have been told repeatedly to wash our hands to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. But without access to a safe water supply, that is nearly impossible. This impacts children, their families and their communities who are put at much greater risk. Our mission to provide safe and clean water supply for vulnerable and marginalised communities is more important today than ever before. So thank you to everyone who has supported the work of Fields of Life in these strange and uncertain times. Your generous and faithful support is appreciated so much. I now want to introduce you to Wendy and Eamon Cahill, who for themselves have seen the life-changing impact that clean water makes on a community.
Hi everyone.
Hi everybody.
Just thank you for the opportunity this evening to join with you and just tell a bit of our story with Fields of Life. I suppose it began through my mum and dad a number of years ago through child sponsorship, and we sponsor Enoch and Olivia, and our own girls would have written to them down through the years and just built up a relationship with them, which has been wonderful. About 4 years ago, Dad passed away suddenly, and we as a family decided that it would perhaps be something we'd like to do would be to sink a well in his memory. So we got in touch with Alex, and he chatted it through with us. As we chatted, we realised that there was a need in both Enoch and Olivia's school area. And so we decided going forward that myself and Eamon would sink a well and Mom would sink a well in each of their schools. So this was a great opportunity, and Alex was going out at Easter on a fact find and asked us would we join him. So we said we would, and off we went, really not understanding what was ahead, but it had a huge impact on us. I think just going into the village and actually seeing the effect of clean water on a village is something I'll never forget. The joy of the people, just realising that the girls now could collect water safely. They didn't have to be on dangerous roads for hours at a time, and that they could also go to school now as a result of the well being directly in the village. And just that the waterborne diseases that really would have affected particularly the infants and the elderly were just gone overnight. So it just had a huge impact on us. And I think coming home we realised that it wasn't the end of the trip, it was possibly just the beginning of something. And we've had the privilege since of bringing out our own daughter and a group of teens as well. On a trip, and we had another one ready to go as well, another trip ready to go just before COVID hit, so that one is on hold at the moment. But I think that was the impact mainly on me.
Yeah, and I think the word impact, as Wendy says, is probably a word that ties all what we have to say together. We were very impacted by Fields of Life. They're a very efficient and very effective charity in what they do, very transparent and a faith-based organisation, and we all were greatly impressed by that. Also, just how I was impacted personally after visiting Uganda was the joy and the strength and the resilience and the faith of the Ugandan people just bowled me over. I have never experienced such joy in my life. than what I experienced from the people out there. And just if there's one person who epitomised that, we were invited to Dara High School, where the students put on a wonderful worship service and a welcome for our team. And one 17-year-old student stood up to preach, and he preached with such passion and such faith from his experience in Uganda that it all affected us deeply and profoundly. He spoke about just the spirit in you is greater than poverty, greater than disease, greater than any adversity. And that's something I still remember today and use in my own life when I face adversity. And that was just really summed up, I suppose, our trip in what he said. And yes, just impacted us greatly. So we just want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day and your evening, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now for the highlight of this evening. We're going to go to Uganda to meet the drillers. They are the real heroes of Fields of Life. They spend months on end away from their families, bringing fresh, clean water to communities. Just sit back and enjoy this journey with us.
Guys, my name is George Otaka. I am wash manager, water hygiene and sanitation manager, and also the hydrogeologist of Fields of Life. We are here at the head office in Kampala of Fields of Life. I want to take you to the journey where we are doing the drilling work. We are drilling water in Butaleja district, eastern Uganda. The drilling team is already there. I've already done the siting. My work is to do the siting and to locate water where it is. Now I will take you to a journey of about 400 kilometers, and then we'll start the drilling. This is the time. Let's move on for 5 hours drive. Thank you. Let's go. Preserve our families in Jesus' name. Amen. Good. Let's go now. Now we are on our trip to the drilling site where I would be drilling balls, and the drilling teams are ready there, and the community will be ready to receive us. We'll be there to see different activities of drilling, how drilling will start up to the end, and the excitement when we strike water. Here we go. Place of Gonja. Let me see. Now we are hitting the Maram Road, bad road to Butaleja, the site where the drilling is happening. It's really a bad one. A lot of potholes, and it's a slow drive. But that is what we are used to. This is a dusty one. Yeah. Maybe about 1 hour, and then we'll get to the site. Here we go. But also, you know, people who are involved in water collections are children, girl child, and women, and some of them have had bad testimony that they were raped as they go to fetch water. There are children that this, when you bring water close to them, safe and clean water, then it means in a way you've removed these challenges, you've dealt with or reduced it to an extent. Yeah. Mpolo Goma, I think. Yeah, part of Mpolo Goma River. Mpolo Goma. Is this bridge strong? Yeah, if the train can go on top of it. Finally, I know you are praying a lot. Prayed all the prayer. I hope it will not. That's why you ask, is this bridge strong enough? But if the train can go on top of it, it must be strong enough. This car is lighter than the train. Oh man. Guys, I have to buy that banana. Meka.
Aliyo kwa chikumi na bibiri.
Chikumi.
Na bibiri.
So we're bringing water close to people. We mitigate the problem of diseases that are waterborne, and also you save time. That time will be used for other things, to go to school, to go and do economic activities. Yeah. And also for personal hygiene, See, for girls when they are in their time of menstrual period, they need water. But if there's no water, they feel disgraced, Yeah. We are now at the site. The village is called Bungoma in Butaleja district. As usual, we normally start drilling work by prayer. We commit the drilling activity by prayer. So you can see the team there. The person who heads prayer and devotion. Usually in the morning and when starting drilling, we first pray with the community. And the person leading there is Leonidas. So he's leading us into prayer so that God will guide us, protect, and since it's a way of reaching out to the community with the gospel also, to make people know, we're trusting God. So immediately after prayer, then drilling will start. Children are very many there, they're very excited to see this, but when the drilling activity starts, we normally make them stay away for safety. Yeah. The person who is operating the machine is called Washington Omoko. You see the person who is operating? Yeah. Washington! Hey, sir. This is Washington Omoko. And then Isaac went to us and he engaged Zito, and Leonidas, and Dennis is there. Mubarak is a Muslim, one of the guys is there. And then there are 6 members.
We have moved in very many districts as we give communities clean and safe water. Here we are in Bungoma community in Butaleja district. We camp in the tent, that is where we live. But the challenge in our camping is that at night it is very cold. And in some other places you find the night dancers are there, they come and dance around the house where you stay. So far we have stayed here for 3 days. The work is, we are coming to an end. When I reached Bungoma community, we went down to the water source, which was 1.5 kilometers out from the middle of the village. And I found the water was dirty, they were sharing water with animals. The water, the water was contaminated. So for the meantime, I want to take you down to the well and see where these people were taking their water from. It is 1.5 kilometers, and the path which goes to the well is bushy. Whenever women go to the well, and they happen to find there are very many people, when they come back, men tends to beat them. Men think there is other men. So that one is the biggest challenge to the women of this place. That water is not safe at all, because they share that water with very many things. For example, frogs are there, snakes. They share that water with animals, cows, goats. So in that process of sharing, I don't think it is safe at all. And even if you are to look at it, the water is very dirty. Even if you look at their health is not really good. You just look at the skin and you see that there is a problem. So the families here without water is very, very hard. Very hard. Yeah. This is the well the community of Bungoma has been getting water from. It has very many challenges and risks. One of them, the snake was under this log here, and it bit the child. Last week they buried the child. When it rains and it becomes very slippery, again one child fell into the water and died. So as they're fetching water, it is very risky. You step feces from the other side, again you come and step on the water. You draw contaminated water, is the one you take at home. Down there, they're sharing it with very many animals. You can see the dunks of the cows. When it rains, all that things comes and enter the water. But the community just come and draw, they take to their homes, which is really very contaminated as you're seeing. You're seeing it like that, but down there it is deep. When a child happens to somersault down there, that is a gone case. A child will die.
Ebizibu yagene mu maji agahudangagana. Olwala nyo hedukana. Nausesema. Nuhuja ngano, era kuja ne feralihi emisota gibanga nemyene mingi. Sawa ini kutuma bana abo. Abana baduluma bali hangane bidomolo. Olundi mutwongere kubanga kuli bangi. Nenaikota tusuza nje ne vere ji inombala.
Pulire sanyu olwamaja manyahaga olujo kufuna okunywa Muhammad bali nago. Ndine sanyu lingi nnyo na mani ne timu yange nebeshalo bosi bangulire sanyu. Kampuni yetu ya maji okendesaho omujuzo gwandi guli kunaikotera nohunywa maji kumwiro.
Ndoboza muwone bikunywa amajaga hunywa ng'ombe ginywamo amahere galumo mizota girumo kinana buli kitu bwagana tikalo bulamu bubinyo bwabona otikale biti bikunywa sibitunga mani ndina masanyu mangi field of life okuja omuitudu kino kubatunga amaji.
Lakini nimepata maji mazuri sana. Tuko na furaha sana. Kwa upande wangu mwenyewe niko na furaha zaidi. Nimeshikwa na nyege ile zaidi. Yaani tulikuwa tuko na changamoto ya maji. Lakini tumepata maji mazuri sasa. Hayo ndio mambo yangu.
The work is almost coming to conclusion. The next step is to develop the borehole so that clean water will start coming out, and then we do test pumping, then we do the casting and install the pump. The community of this village is very grateful to Fields of Life for providing this water source, clean and safe water. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. We thank God and we thank you for providing, and the entire community on the behalf of Fields of Life and the community of Bongoma. We are very grateful for the support. It has been a hard journey. It has been a tough one from the beginning, and we are now almost concluded. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Mwebale nyo, mwebale mbahenyene, nikwe yasa, mwebale.
Wow, now you know what I mean by the real heroes of Fields of Life. I hope that footage gave you a sense of what the impact that fresh water makes on a community and the excitement and the real difference that it makes to people's lives there. If you've been inspired by what you've been seeing this evening and you'd like to get involved, there are a few ways to get involved. And I know certainly in these times of pandemic, finances aren't easy. So if that's not possible at the moment, well, and you'd be happy to pray, well, we'd love you just to pray for the work, pray for the community and pray for the drillers, especially safety on the roads and safety at their work. If finances are a possibility, then either giving monthly, whatever is available, that would be really good for the ongoing work. Giving a one-off payment to support a well, or even if you're in a position that you could commit to a well or even commit to fundraising for a well, then again, that would be brilliant. And how you do that is if you go to the Fields of Life website, www.fieldsoflife.org, and you'll get more information there, or contact some of the people that you've seen on here tonight. Over the years, we have been really intentional to make the wells that we dig sustainable, not just the mechanics of them, but also sustainable within the community. The cost of a well is £8,550, and that's made up of three parts: the actual cost of drilling the well and the hardware that's involved. Secondly is the training of the local user committee, and their job is to ensure the long-term maintenance of the mechanics and the hygiene around the well. And thirdly is training of the entire community on sanitation and hygiene, to make sure that not only do they collect safe water, but then they use the water safely when they get back home. We hope that through tonight you have seen how every donation changes lives. But sadly, that's all we've got time for, so thank you very much for joining us. And we're just going to leave you with this.